Greetings, everybody. Happy holidays for the very last Ask the Trainer of the year. And we have a group of seasonally excited people joining us today. And those include the fantastic Noseman and Darren, and of course, Jonas. So hello to everyone who's joining me.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Season's greetings to you all.
Season's greetings.
Hey.
And indeed, hello to everyone in the chat.
Hello, everyone in the chat.
Hello, everyone in the chat. Nice to have you here.
We have a seasonal topic for you as well. We were talking just before we went live about how expensive the snow tires are that Noseman will have to purchase at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Don't remind me of that sound. Yeah.
In fact, we have a snow theme all through today. We got a special treat for you who are keen to recreate snow from the warmth of your own computer.
Absolutely.
Yes. Strangely enough, using some Maxon tools to do it, which we're very keen on.
Oh, Maxon tools.
Maxon tools.
I missed
Yes.
that.
So also we got some things to share with you as well, both what we did this year and of course what we did last year. And you can see here, if you go onto the main Maxon site, you can see lovely Happy Holidays animation, fabulous work by Gavin Shapiro. Really, really love this. And what that means is, oh, clicked on the wrong thing. What that means is that you can click on this little Watch Now button and you can have a view of a kind of review of the year. We put together a series of things, what we did all through the year. So please feel free to have a watch of that. It's very entertaining. Thank you, Chad, for putting this all together and all really quickly and stuff. So that's fantastic. And so that's last year. So that's a nice review and reminder of some of the things that we introduced, especially in terms of the features. But we've also, heading to next year, we've got some amazing things coming up in January. So there's more webinars, more live streams, and we have been listening. So a lot of you have asked us, hey, can we have some character stuff? Can you show us how to rig and animate character in Cinema 4D? So we have that. We have a 6-part series with Joe Herman and Ellie Wade, who are investigating what it's like to create a character from scratch, starting off with ZBrush, using some Redshift, and also crafting and rigging your character in Cinema 4D, and there's 6 episodes of that. So this is all, you can see the details on that. You can sign up for it for free, of course, on maxon.net/events. And talking of Redshift and Redshift in ZBrush, which we kind of sneak peek and announced in December at the summit, we have a whole series of webinars in January for the Demystifying Post-Production series, covering Redshift in a variety of hosts. And so we're starting off with workflows in Blender. That's in the first one in week 1. Then we're moving to do more of those workflows in ZBrush and in Houdini and also in Maya. So if you are wanting to jump in between those particular workflows, or if you need that as part of your workflows, then join us on one of those sessions. As well as, of course, Ask the Trainers back and the amazing VFX and Chill every Friday. So we've got tons of stuff in the new year for you. And if you miss any of those, then regular viewers will know what we're going to say next, because we like to record all the sessions. So just go to the Maxon Training Team on YouTube, and we have all the sessions for that. And then you can either sign up for the webinars, or you can also do a notify me for things like the Oscar Train that's coming on January the 12th too. And finally, regular viewers will also know that we like to say, hey, thank you for coming, and here's a free t-shirt. So if you type in an exclusive link, which is this one here, which we'll share in the chat. Here we go. It's a special one. This isn't part of the main store. This is a special link just for you. And this month there is a key password to open up that link, Maxon on Fire. And all you have to do is pay for the shipping for that shirt, and you can choose one at your leisure from a variety of them. Cool. So I think that's the main housekeeping things. I think we have a strict ending time today, not because everyone has to go and do their last minute Christmas shopping, but we've got something very important coming up, I'm sure, we have to do in about an hour's time. So I better skip my waffling and hand back over to the crew to go through what we're going to cover today.
Yes, so I'm gonna take over here and I'm gonna grab the screen. So I have the screen now. All right.
Today's theme, by the way,
So
today's theme is give Jonas a hard time doing winter stuff. So I'm supported by Darren on this, and Jonas is going to be victim. So
yeah,
Jonas,
you know that
what you have.
You all know that Noseman is a huge fan of torture, and today I'm the victim. And
Yep.
So 2 weeks ago he talked me into creating something with snow, or creating a snow material. And so I had a look at snow. Lucky enough, it was snowing in Germany, so I had at least 2 days of a chance to have a look at snow a little bit more. And I want to show you two approaches. Like one that is so that you can really go close and like fly with the camera pretty close to the snow. Let me maybe bring these up. So let me see if I can find them. So this is something I created. So this is the one where you can go really close because it has all the parallax in it. It's a MoGraph based approach. And then I created another one,
That's really nice. Yes.
which is, well, I'm not sure where I did one rendering. So this is the one that doesn't look as good as the first one that I created, but it shows really well that one thing that is important for snow is that there is some sort of noise, that there are those flakes that are very shiny, but you cannot create them with just a single noise because they need to flicker, but the flickering needs to be stable. So if you have a look at those flakes here, you can see that some, as I scrub the playhead here, you can see that they are like blinking, but they are stable in their position, and it's not just like a flickering noise or anything. They are stable, and that's important for snow, because snow is basically just a bunch of crystals, and those crystals are pretty much, they are three-dimensional. But if you really bring it down to the essence, they are sort of two-dimensional, and they need to be placed on a surface like in a random way. And that's what I did here. So let me recreate this so that you can see how I created this. Well, it's actually not a real material. It's geometry. Everything here is geometry. So let me do this first. And after that, I will dive into creating tangential normals. And I'm going to show you how you can modify and create those in Cinema 4D using Redshift. However, let's start with the other approach. And for the first approach, we need some sort of ice crystal or snowflake, something like that. I'm going to go with a very small ice crystal, and I have to create that. So I'm going to create a cube, and I'm going to make it really small. Let's see. My torus is pretty big, so let's go with 10 by 10 by, let's say 2. I think that's okay, maybe even by 1. And we're gonna solo this. And then I'm gonna have a look at this guy. And let me hit NB to bring up the grow shading with lines. And I'm gonna add a few segments here and maybe make it like so. Have a look from the front. And H is framing it. And I'm gonna make this editable. And then I go to points mode. And in here, you can find the magnet tool, and I'm going to bring down the radius here and just and just add a little bit of a random shape. Maybe let's make it a little bit bigger now. Something like that. It's always good when it has some sort of tip there. Something like that. And then I'm gonna select everything using the rectangle tool, move it up a little bit. And this is one of my crystals now. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, that's good enough. And I'm gonna throw this into a null. Why into a null? Because I want to have the anchor point of this, the axis, down here. And as soon as I throw this into a cloner, it will always use the middle of the clone, like the center point of the clone. It would use a point like here and not this one. This is why I put it into a null. And then I'm gonna clone it, like so. And I put the cloner here. And what I do next is I'm gonna set the mode to object and then use the torus as the object that I want to clone on. Now, let me unsolo this and let's have a look. All right, it looks like this, and this is because so the snowflakes here are just parallel to the surface, and this is because usually when you do stuff with MoGraph, the z-axis is pointing away from the surface. So let me solo this one here again, like so, maybe with hierarchy enabled. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use axis mode here to just rotate this up by 90 degrees so that the z-axis is pointing upwards. And that's the whole trick here. Now, if I make everything visible again, we should see that all of the crystals are pointing outwards. All right, and the next thing I do is I want to go really high with the clone count here. So the next thing is I'm gonna set this to multi-instances, and then I can go up here to, let's say, yeah, even 1 million or so. But in this case, for this one, let's just go to 10,000. And that's good. All right. Next thing is we need to randomize this. So let me create a random effector. And I'm going to place it here. In the parameters, I'm going to untick position and go with the rotation. This is the one that I want to use first. So I'm going to set this to 180. And I'm going to set the others so that they are quite random as well, like so. So we need those ice crystals, so to speak, to somehow be on the surface with many, many different angles. That's the thing. Okay, and I still think that it's not enough clones here. So let me go up to 20,000. And I'm gonna hit NA to get rid of the Guru shading. And then also I want to randomize the scales. So let me go to uniform scale and let's set this to 0.3 or so, that we have a little bit of randomness in here. And then I'm gonna scale this down a little bit so that it's a little bit smaller. And one thing that I really like in these setups is when you have like one or a few flakes that are a little bit bigger compared to all the others. Maybe let me make this still a little bit smaller and add a few more, like 30,000. Yep, that's good. And I'm going to create a copy here of this one. And this is going to be my big flake. And I'm just going to scale it up so that it's a little bit bigger than the others. So right now you don't see a real difference here, but we can adjust the ratio here simply by creating more copies. We could also do that using an effector with what is it called again?
Modify clone.
Yeah, modify clone, exactly. But I'm gonna do it the cheap way for now and just create a few more copies here. So here we go. Now we have many small flakes and one big flake. And that's pretty much it. The rest is just coming from the materials. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Redshift and start the IPR. I already have a dome light in here. So this is what I have. Let's have a look at this from
Hey,
here.
Jonas,
Yes,
can I ask a question?
shoot.
What is your cloner's clone mode?
It's object. I'm cloning
I mean,
onto a
like
torus.
iterate? Are you iterating or
Yes.
randomizing?
I'm iterating.
Okay.
I could also do randomize, but because it's like 1 out of 16 clones that is now bigger, I think that's okay. So and now I just need 2 materials, and the first one I'm going to create a very, very simple glass material, so to speak, and I'm going to apply it to the cloner here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the color to something brighter. And then I'm going to go down to the transmission and bring it up until something close to 100%. And now you can already see that we've got this fluffy feel to it. And also some of those crystals are catching the reflection of the main light and some are not. And that's because of their direction. And now the second thing we can do is we can add another material and add it to the torus. And this one, by the way, my previews are black because in the preferences, in the Redshift preferences, I set the material previews to to be rendered when the renderer is in idle, and right now the renderer is working. That's why it's not calculating any previews. So let me bring up this second material so that it's also white, and I'm going to bring up the subsurface scattering a little bit. And that's basically what I did. And now when I add a second light source, and let's place it somewhere here in the back. Then you can see that we're catching those little reflections, those little flakes here. And you can go really close and it still holds up. Also when you like do a camera move over this. So this is something that you can do. But of course, when you clone these, when you want to create bigger setups, then you may want to use a material for all of this. And with a material, you have the advantage that it can be calculated quicker because you don't have to create all of those clones here on the GPU and so on. And by the way, for this setup, you could also set this cloner to be a matrix and use the matrix scatter instead, the Redshift matrix scatter. That would even be faster than what I just created here. So if you don't know where this is the matrix scatter, and the matrix scatter has this Redshift tag on it, and then you would set the particles to custom objects, and you put all the objects here in here, and this is a way to really generate those clones or the instances of the clones on the GPU, which is much faster.
Question.
Yes.
But if we're using those custom objects in that list, then we can't necessarily blend between like a small flake and a scaled up flake to get the variation. Because we don't have that cloning mode for blend.
Yeah, well, the matrix itself is a MoGraph generator. And the clones that you define here in the Redshift object tag are just reading the matrices from in here. So whenever you use an effector to adjust the matrices, this will automatically be inherited to the flakes in this case then, because the flakes are the clones. They are just instanced onto the matrices. But the matrices are carrying all the transformation data like position, rotation, and scale.
My
And
point is that here the only distributions we have is random or sequential.
yes,
There's no blending or sorting.
that is true. That is true. But in the matrix, it's oh yeah, you're right. I would have to test that. I would have to test that. However, if you have a look at this one here, it rendered quite long now. It's not looking too bad. I mean, you can fly over
Looks
that,
great.
and it's looking really cool. Although this setup is really simple to create, and I'm just using a torus here. I mean, you can go with any shape. All right, so let me show you the next thing, which would be to create this as a shader. And to do that, I want to give you a little bit more of an insight in tangential normals. So let me stop the IPR here, and let me go to this one. So what I have here is a material that's a standard material, which has a layer shader in here, and I prepared a few things. If I bring up the asset browser and search for normal in the media section, you can see that this is pretty much the same color. It's not pretty much the same color, it is the same color. So how does that work? Let me have a look at this color here. So tangential normals are these colorful textures. And the thing about all sorts of aspects inside of Cinema 4D, all sorts of media or all sorts of textures is that it's always good to think of them not just as images, but as containers for data. Because what an image basically is a grid of data. You have a grid, and usually you have an RGB value stored in each pixel on each point, so to speak. But you don't necessarily need to use this as colors. You can also use that for many other things, like bump textures or glossiness or roughness textures are also good examples for that. And in a roughness texture, for example, you would have oh, Simon left. Let me quickly
Just now.
Let me quickly switch him off here so that we don't see this little Teams icon. In a roughness map, when you have black in a roughness map, then you basically have a value of 0%. Black represents 0% roughness, and white represents 100% roughness, right? So, and all the shades in between black and white are representing values between 0 and 100%, and in this case then for roughness. And normals are nothing different, but they are like multi-dimensional, so to speak. So you don't have just one value, but you have three values, RGB. All right, so how does this work? Basically, this color is not just any color, but when you have a look at the RGB values, it's red 128, green 128, and blue 255, which means that R and G are just 50% of the very right of the slider, and B, blue, is all the way up. So normal maps can store a little bit more than just than bump maps. Bump maps are just storing like a height value. Normal maps can store the direction of the surface as well. And the way this is happening is that R is storing like the angle from the left to the right, and green is storing the angle from the top to the bottom. And blue is just the normal that is pointing towards the camera. You can use that in combination with the others to have a bump map for itself. That won't work, but you can use it that way. So let me go one up here, and let me disable this one, and let's have a look at red. Then this is green. And if I mix those two together and maybe bring up one of those textures where you can really see it. So here, for example, here you can see that in this circle, let me go down a little bit. Oh, now I lost it. Here it is. You have black in the upper left. Here you have red, here you have yellow, and here you have green. So this is the very same thing, right? And yeah, if you just mix the blue channel into this, then you have this. All right, and we can use that knowledge to create a normal map and to create a texture for snow that has those flakes in it, and they are pointing to a specific direction. And therefore, when you move the camera or move a light, they create some sort of a stable flickering, if you will. Okay, now let me recreate this. I'm gonna start from scratch. So let me create a new scene, and I'm gonna create a Taurus. Where is it? Here we go. And I'm gonna move it up a little bit, like so. And we're also gonna create a plane and just make it like so. All right. Then the Taurus needs to get a little bit more subdivision, like so. Is that okay? I think so. Maybe maybe a little bit more. Here we go, because we also want to displace it in the end. Okay, so same thing for the plane. There we go. All right, and I'm also going to create a new material. So let me first switch to Redshift. That's important because I want to create this in Redshift. And then I'm going to double click, create a new material, and just assign it here to the Taurus. And then I'm going to go to my nodes view. And this is just a special layout that I created where I have the node editor down here so that it's not a window that is laying on top of all the other stuff. So the first thing,
Jonas,
we see, your browser.
you're sharing your browser now.
I'm still sharing. Okay, I'm not sharing my
when
browser.
When you switched your layout, it switched. I think you're sharing window instead of sharing.
All right.
please.
Give me a second. I'm gonna fix it.
Elevator music.
Elevator music.
Do-do-do-do.
There we go.
Bling blong, bling blong. Doobie doo. There you go.
There I go. All right. So yeah, I have the material here, and the node view is in there. Okay, now I'm going to first make this a little bit brighter so that we have a white material again. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click here and create one of the new nodes in Redshift, which is the tiles node. And the tiles node is something that I really like because it's bringing the tiles shader from Cinema 4D natively into Redshift. All right, so this is what it looks like by default. But we can adjust the pattern here, we can adjust the colors, and this is exactly what we're gonna do. So here in the tiles shader, we have a lot of tiles or a lot of patterns that we can choose from. I'm gonna use random. There we go. Oh, it would have been the next, of course. All right, and yeah, what we don't need is the grout and the bevel. So I'm just gonna go with this. And also what I see here is that it's stretched a lot. So I want to go to the texture tag and just make the tiling in U direction 3. I want to go with UVs instead of the triplanar, because I think in this case it won't stretch those flakes so much, because this can happen in the triplanar node. But what I want to do here in the tiles node is I want to go with a black color in color 1. I want to go with some 50% gray in the second one, and I also want to go with, well, I want to go with white for the third one. So now I have a gradient from black to white, if you will. And I'm going to go down now to the global scale, and I'm going to set this down to 0.05 maybe. Yeah, I think that's good. So now we have this. And I kind of like that. Maybe we go down with, no, I think it's okay. 50% is okay. So, but what I want to do is I want to use this pattern here in the red channel, then the same pattern but with another color in the green channel, and this way I can create the flakes so that they are pointing towards different directions. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to double click and I'm going to create a node that is called Color Maker. Color Maker. And the Color Maker allows me to use values between 0 and 1 for red, green, and blue. So instead of typing in 128 here in red and green, we have to go with 0.5 in this case. All right, so this would be the default setting for a tangential normal. All right, and then I can just go ahead and pipe this pattern into the red channel. And then this is what happens. Okay, I want to use the same pattern, but with other colors in the green channel. So what I do is, let me just disable the preview here. I'm going to create a copy of this one. And then I'm just going to swap the colors here. And the way I'm going to do that is by holding down the Shift key. And I'm going to move black here. So I'm going to swap the two colors when I hold down Shift. And then I'm going to swap these two. And now I have black, gray, and white like this. And I can pipe this into green. And yeah, blue is still fine for now. So now we have this, which is okay. And I want to blend this with the original, purplish blue that you know from tangential normal textures. So I'm going to create another color user data node. I could also use a color maker again. I just want to show you a different way of creating a color. And in this one, I'm going to set the colors in RGB mode again to 128, 128, and 255. Like so. And this is my tangential normal base color. And now I'm going to mix them together using a layer node. So let's create a layer, color layer. And I'm going to throw the color user data into the base layer and the color maker into color 1. And now if I solo that, I can use the mask here to blend between the two. So I can define the strength of the normal effect. All right, now let's have a look what this will look like. And I want to pipe this into the bump map channel here. So I'm going to double click and create a bump map node. In this case, we need to make sure that the bump map is set to tangent space normal. And then I'm going to pipe this in here, and this one goes here. And now we can see that our flakes are pointing into different directions. So this is step 1. And although this might have been like a little theoretical and technical, understanding this concept is quite an interesting and important thing. And also, it helps me explaining you that it's always good to think of images as data and not as images. Right, and now I can use this slider here to go from pretty much no direction change to the full direction change. Right? So let's go with something here in the middle, something like that. And the last thing that I want is I want to also have a little bit of a bump in there. So I'm going to create another node And in this case, it's going to be a Maxon noise. And this is going to be there for like the depth, so to speak, for the bump. So I'm going to solo this, and let me make this a little bit smaller. Or first, let me go to, I think Luca is always a noise that I like for this sort of stuff. There's another one. Was it Poxo? This one is perfect. This one is really perfect. All right, let's pipe this into the blue channel here. And now let's have a look what this looks like. Okay, so yeah, we have a little bit more variation in here, not too much, but I think we're gonna leave that for now. Maybe we can dial it in a little bit more and maybe make it a bit bigger, like so. Let's go with 2, and let's also make the other 2 a little bit smaller still. Let's go with 0.03. All right, so we are getting there. And let me now create a little bit of a light. So let me create an area light, and let's place it here, and let's make it point up a little bit, and let's also make it small. That's also an important thing, because the sun is also small. Well, the sun is huge, but compared to the rest of the sky, it is small. And now you can see that, yeah, there are just some of these flakes reflecting. And the second thing I can do now is add a dome light and tint it towards blue a little bit, and maybe make it a little bit darker, and we're gonna get there. All right, so this is not looking too bad. One more thing that I want to do in here is to, let me go to the side here. So maybe we have to bring up the intensity of the area light a bit more so that we can see the rest a little bit better. Maybe to 2. All right. And for my taste, there are too many flakes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a third copy of this tiles node. And I'm going to choose the third combination possible here. So that means that actually the middle one is going to be white. And in this case, I can even make the third one black, because I don't want as many flakes here. Maybe another thing that I can do is pipe this through a ramp like so, and just use the alt input for this one to remap it. And I'm going to remap it in a way that I have less flakes, like so. So these are the flakes now that can potentially reflect, but depending on their angle, they will or will not. And yeah, then here in the main material node, in the Redshift material, standard material node, I'm going to pipe this into reflection weight. And now if I unsolo this, you can see, yeah, that there is less of this shiny flake stuff. Maybe that was a little bit too much. Let me bring this down a little bit so that we get more flakes. And now we can also bring in the plane again and assign that material to that plane as well. In this case, we need a few more tiles, like let's say 5 by 5, maybe 4 by 4.
And the Lambertian spheres shading model is ideal for snow also, I think.
Yes. So we can go to the node here, and instead of Ornaya, we can use the Lambertian spheres. Another thing that we can do is we can go down here to subsurface and add a little bit of subsurface scattering, of course.
I've been waiting for that. Thank you.
And also what I want to do is I want to tint this towards blue a little bit.
And there goes my presentation. Okay, Jonas, you can go on for the next 18 minutes.
Okay. So yeah, I've got I've got one more thing to show you in this one here.
One more thing to ruin.
Take your time.
Yeah, now I can take my time. That's good to know. I'm gonna create an animation, like a target tag for the area light, and just point it towards the torus all the time. And then I'm gonna create a few copies of that, just so that we have a little bit more light coming from different directions. So let me do this, and I just command drag this over to the other side. It's pretty small now, but I think something like this could be cool. Let's move it up a little bit, and I'm gonna create a third one, maybe here. And this one we need to bring down. And maybe we should bring down the other one as well when it comes to intensity.
Looking at this, it's like all I want to see right now is a snow cone.
A snow cone?
Yeah, you know, like the paper cup with the ice, with the shaved ice.
Ah, all right.
Don't worry about it. I'm just thinking out loud.
I wanted to do something else here. Because I think it's still too flat. What I want here is a little bit of variation. Well, we have a lot of variation here, but I want more. I want more variation. And the way I'm gonna create variation is by adding displacement to this, so that we have the displacement in the texture. And I'm gonna do that by using a noise again, Maxon noise, and let's solo it. And let's have a look what it looks like, but that's way too small. So let's bring this up. Way bigger, way bigger. Well, I think a value of 10 is okay. And let's throw this into a displacement, like so. Text map, and then it goes into the displacement. And one of the things you need to know is that now it is not working as a displacement, because we also have to activate the displacement on the objects themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the two objects, and then I'm going to go to other tags, render tags, and redshift object. I'm going to use this. And in here, the important thing is that in geometry, we need to activate the override, and then in this case only the displacement. We don't need to add tessellation here because it's tessellated enough already, so we just add the displacement.
Sorry to interrupt you,
like
Jonas.
so. Yes,
but we have 15 minutes remaining. Are we sure we don't want to switch over to the nose man?
he just said he's got nothing more to
Okay.
I do, but you can go on. I have no problem whatsoever. We have sessions. We have years ahead of us to do these kind of things.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm going to
Cool.
bring
Just
up the
checking.
displacement here, and I already had the idea about the next session in the next year. The first session of next year is not going to be winter is coming, but winter is still there. So we can show more winter setups. Yeah, so now that I activated displacement here, I can have a look at the displacement node again. And so one thing I usually do is I remap the range from 0 to 100 or 0 to 1 to -1 to 1, because this way the displacement is allowed to carve in as well. And now you saw that a little bit changed here. Maybe let me bring up the scale here to 5.
The thing with snow and ice is it's all about like the layers. You know, there is not just a one simple thing
Exactly.
that you can do.
And the other thing is that for different scenarios, different types of snow textures or approaches will work best. So what I showed in the beginning was like the geometry approach for close-ups, then for stuff that is far away, you can use the approach that I'm showing right now. Like for example, we could create another Maxon noise here and just make it a little bit smaller.
Yeah, like if you need to bake textures for a game engine.
Yeah, for
You
example.
can use the material.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I want to show as well here is that you can always remap those textures. Like let's say I want to have some sort of steeper parts in here, like lines. I can do that by just using the noise and adding a ramp. So I'm going to remap the noise like so. My computer is already almost dying here doing all of that stuff, because all of this stream is coming from my computer as well. So
just wants to open its presents.
Yes. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remap the noise from this black to white thing to black to white and back to black. And this should give me these lines. Let's give it a second. There we go. You cannot really see them. Maybe we should go in a little bit here with the blacks. And then, yeah, you can see that they're somehow coming here. Nope.
You should move that knot over.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put them closer together.
Move.
Come on, do it, computer. You're a good computer. You can do that.
You didn't get it.
I didn't get what? No, I didn't get it.
It was a cow joke. I made a cow joke.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
No, I didn't get that. You're absolutely right. So let me blend these together using another color layer. And let's throw the ramp. Let's throw the ramp in here. And let's just blend those two together so that we have something. Oh, this already looks interesting. Not as I intended, but maybe we can adjust the overlay mode, the blend mode, to something like, let's go with overlay, and then I mask the whole thing down, and let's see what it looks like then. It could be a little bit sharp here.
Jonas, 10 minutes are remaining.
10 minutes are remaining.
While you're at it, Jonas, well, I forget, what is the way to bring user data from the object manager of an object into the Redshift node graph?
Ah, right. Right, that's a good one.
There was a question because in the old system, we can just use Expresso, drag things in, but now we can use user data.
Yeah.
So when you're done with your donut.
Do you want to show that?
I don't remember which node it is. I was looking at reference. I was using user data. It just evades me. So
yeah. So the thing is that you need to have user data on. Was it on the object itself or was it on a tag? Let's try that. Let me just create a new scene here, and
probably the object.
Yeah, I also think it needed to be on the object. So let's say you want to drive the color using the position. You would have to go here and create some user data, add user data. And in this case, position is a vector. And vectors are, or a vector is a set of 3 or 4 floats, depending on what you do. We're not going to limit it. Well, we're not going to limit it like so. And we just hit OK. Right. And now we have this user data here and we have this one. And this is something we can read in the Redshift material. So what we still need to do is we need to link this up with the actual position. So what I do is I go to the tags and then to programming tags, Espresso, and I throw in the sphere here, and I'm gonna choose its global position. Is it here or is it in here? Global position. There we go. And I'm gonna throw it in here again. And on this side, I'm gonna use the user data pos and the full pos, right? And I'm just gonna link the two, right? So now, whenever I go here and let me lock this, and whenever I move the object around, I have those values changing according to the actual positions or position of this object. So now let me create, let me first switch to Redshift. And then let's create a new material. And let's assign the material to the object. And let's also go to Redshift IPR. And what I want to do now is I want to use that color or that vector in the luminance. So let me create a color user data node, right? And if I solo this, it is black by default. Let me unlock this one. So now it is black because the default value is black. But in theory, well, let me
go to the attribute name on top of the color. I think that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Now we go here and we just type in pos, right? And then it's reading our position and writing it directly into the color. So if I move that around here, you can see that it's now adjusting the color. For now, we definitely need a range mapper. So it's called change range here, right? Change range, vector change range. Let's create this one. Or what does the change range do here? All right. Okay, we need the vector change range because we have 3 values here. So let me throw this in. And now we're going to remap this so that
do 100 or 200. So old range,
so we
0
need
to 200, 200, and 200.
No, in the old range, we need to go negative. We definitely need to go negative. Let me go.
Well, it depends where you want to go.
Yeah,
if I want, because you need to normalize it. Yeah.
Yeah. If I want 50% gray to be in
5
the
minutes
C
remaining.
origin. All right. Yeah. After this one, we have to wrap up. So if I do this, then we are remapping the values. Let me just show it to you. So now if I bring these coordinates back to 0, let me just use the shortcut. The shortcut for reset transform is Alt 0. So this is a 50% gray. And now I can move it to the positive side, then it's gonna be brighter, or to the negative side, then it's gonna be darker. And depending on where I move it, I can adjust the color now. And now I can just throw this into, let me go down here and to, where is it? Emission color. Let me control click this button here because then we get it here on the node and we just throw this output onto the color. And now if we bring up the weight to 1, we should already have that effect in here. Yeah, there we go. So the key part is to create user data. You need user data on the object. And of course, you need to wire it up. It's a bit more complicated than in the Redshift shader graph, but the functionality is there. You just need to know that you have to approach it this way. All right.
And with that.
Cool.
Right.
Well, I didn't expect to talk for a full hour now, but sorry, Noseman. But this is already a teaser for the next one, because the next one is then going to be winter is still there or still here. However,
winter is thawing.
I'm going to share my screen to show the shader I did.
Yeah,
And let me
I'm gonna give you the screen. Are you sharing already?
It appears to be so.
All
So
right.
this
So I give
is
you.
my.
Yeah, this is Noseman's screen now.
I don't see it yet.
You're not seeing it yet?
Nope, I do not.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. I see it.
There you go. So this is my shader, and it's predominantly based on the new random walk subsurface scattering. And yeah, this could be part of because what I do, I spend 10 days to make things 10 minutes faster. So that's my way of um, you know, being lazy.
That's
So
what we do in production, don't we?
yeah, that's what we do. We spend a lot of time to save a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to move forward. Yeah, that's and the other thing I'm going to show for anyone that's gonna follow us in the next webinar is stop it. Yeah, I've got there you go. So let me do this again. When you have Redshift and simulations running, you get those errors, and it's basically just a growing of whatever shape you want to do. How you're going to create the
Nice.
shape is a different story, and this uses Pyro.
Yeah.
And it's
So
it's a snowflake. It's
a
cool.
snowflake, exactly.
I love that.
And this is another one created in a different way, using MoGraph, so you can go and add objects, and because the cloner is set to a hexagon.
We should have had Jonas scatter that on his model instead of the planes.
Yeah, different ones.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
growing as well, and particles and all that, and we can just sit back and watch Jonas's computer burn.
Absolutely, totally. Let's do it. So this is a great teaser, and the next session is the next Ask the Trainer is going to be on January the 12th.
Back to you, Jonas.
Yeah,
Take your screen.
back to me. Let me grab the screen back. So now
Don't
you
forget
should...
to grab your last shirt of the year, everybody.
Yes, I'm gonna come to that in a second. So a little bit of housekeeping in the end. If you go to the Maxon website and then go to news and events, then you come to this little site. You can also just type in maxon.net/events, and this is where we list all the webinars that we are doing. And as you can see, Ask the Trainer sessions for the next year are already planned. And there's a little bit of a change. We're going to stream 1 hour later. So starting next year, we're going to start at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12, is it PM then? No.
Yeah.
Is it still?
Yes.
Okay, PM Eastern, and it's 6 p.m. Central European time then. So that's a little bit of a change, but I think you guys can handle it. And just
Good work,
in case
Jonas.
you came in, sorry?
Good work, man. Good work today.
Not bad, not bad, Jonas, not bad.
Thank you.
We didn't push you too much. We were very lenient because of the festive season.
I just
But
didn't let
next
you
time-
talk. That was the only reason.
Next time it's not going to be as easy, so get prepared.
All right. So if you want to catch up with some of the recordings or some of the sessions that we did, you can always go to the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. This is the place where you can find the recordings of all the sessions that we are doing or that we did already. So it's hundreds of hours of stuff already. And then, as Darren already said, we have this site here. And let me copy paste this link into the chat.
I think Michelle got it. Michelle, thank you so much for
You got
helping
it?
us out with all those links.
All right, I'm
all
gonna
year
paste
long.
it again because I think we're just pasting it to the Maxon Training Team, but I can paste it to all the channels that we are streaming to. If I'm technically capable of doing that, let me see that. Oh, come on, it's not working. Okay.
The link's in there.
Oh, it's not working. All right.
It's okay. Michelle posted the link.
Okay, good. So, yeah, then
Yeah, one more thing.
also
One more thing. Don't forget.
the coupon
don't-
code. Please,
Oh, yeah,
please let me finish
go-
this.
I didn't know. Yeah, sorry.
The coupon code is Maxon on Fire this month. I'm gonna send that to everyone. So this should have been on both streams now. And yeah, you can just order a t-shirt for free. You only have to pay for the shipping if you're using that coupon code. All right. And that's pretty much it
That's
for
it. That's
this
it.
year.
We did
Let me go to
Have a safe New Year, everybody, and a happy holiday. Thank you so much for joining us.
absolutely.
Wait, go to cineversity.maxon.net, the new Cineversity website. All right, it's not the old cineversity.com. It's
We'll
cineversity.maxon.net.
post the link.
And it's it's got new tutorials and brush up on your pyro and your simulation tutorials, because I'm going to be asking questions next time.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Good. Thanks. Have great holidays, everyone. Slide well into the new year, and we will see
Happy
you
Hanukkah.
in 2023. What an exciting time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.